Hey everybody, it's Dan, the podcast man, also the home buyer man, safety man, whatever you want to call me, man, at this point. But here today, I have a wonderful person here. She's a real estate agent, broker too, Melissa Dreyfuss. And I want you to introduce yourself. Hello.
Hi, so I'm Melissa Dreyfuss. I work at Realty Connect. I'm the leader of the Dreyfuss team. It's a small team, but it's a good team. And I'm a real estate broker with a bunch of years of experience. And I also have a bachelor's degree in marketing, so.
Good. Oh, wow. Well, really?
I do.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So this is what I like. This is where I like where these podcasts go. I start to learn so much more about people and their stories. And I've been working with you for quite some time. We saw you. I purchased 2 houses from you, and there's so much to highlight about that. But before we get into those parts of the stories, I really want to get like your background of like how did you get into this business, Melissa?
So I've actually done a lot of things. So when I was 18, I had an ice cream store for a couple years, owned it on my own. Ended up getting rid of that, went back to college.
An ice cream store?
I did, in East Setauket, Magical Sundays. Shout out to my old employees. But it was interesting. It taught me a lot about business. You know, I was thrown into it, and I made my own ice cream, so it was really, really crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you sold ice cream, and then you started selling houses, man.
Pretty much, yeah. If you're a hustler, you're a hustler, you know?
So what? So, okay, so you can continue with the story. And
Yeah, so then I decided after I sold my business that, I was doing a lot of hours, and I was really young, that I wanted to go back to college. So I went and got my bachelor's degree in marketing.
Okay.
And I think management too.
Where'd you go?
I went to Farmingdale State College.
Okay.
So I went and did that. I had a promotional business for a little while. And it was nothing crazy. It was a very small business. And then, my accountant said to me, my friend owns a brokerage. Why don't you get your license and work for him?
Okay.
And I ended up getting my license. And I mean, it was Keller Williams, but I only worked there for like 3 weeks. Reason being is I found out my contract was probably the worst real estate contract in history.
You got the worst contract?
The worst contract.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay, so I think regular people probably won't understand, but my split was 15-85. So I was only going to get 15% of commission, and they were going to get 85. And so I didn't realize that at first, and I didn't understand, because when you go and ask other agents, what's your commission split? Nobody wants to tell you, because a lot of things, depend on what their split is. How many sales they do.
It's like asking somebody, how much you make. It's like, it's one of those questions, like you have colleagues and coworkers where you look at somebody like, oh man, what are they making? But no one really asks those types of questions. But I want to get like a little bit of a time frame here. What year is this?
This is, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't know.
So like
a while ago.
2015, 2016?
Probably somewhere around there. But I only lasted there 3 weeks, because when I did the math and I said to myself, 10 houses at 500,000, if I sell 10 at 500,000 in 1 year, and let's say I'm that lucky because I'm a brand new agent, so I probably will sell one. I realized I was going to make something like 35,000 or 40,000. And I said, there's no way.
For the year?
For the year, if I sold 10 houses at 500,000. I went and did the math, and then I called, the broker that I was working for. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I could ever make any money.
So let me ask a little bit more about this story. Was this like, because I feel like a lot of people go through this. You negotiate whatever it is, a deal, a contract. You get, oh wow, okay, great, and you shake their hand, you sign whatever it is, and then you get in your car and you like kind of go home, or wherever you're going. You go like, did you do one of those like? No,
I didn't, because I didn't.
I
didn't know.
You didn't know.
So I was just excited.
When did you have the moment of like, I'm simply getting effed. I'm just getting.
So I would say by maybe the second week, I start realizing that. I have a lot of people I know, so I know I'm going to get business, but I'm like, yeah, I can never basically make any real kind of money. And then I went to my accountant, because we're really, really good friends, me and my accountant. And I was like, yeah, I think your friend is like, for lack of a better word, screwing me over. So, I mean, I don't see, and then he kind of just didn't want to get involved. And then finally one agent was like, yeah, I mean, he's like, that's like the worst deal I've ever heard of in my life. And I was like, okay. So then I went to RE/MAX. And they said, yeah, we'll offer you a 70-30 split right off the bat with no sales.
Is that if would you say that was more? Now we're going to this part. I think this is important because you know, you're telling your story, and I want people to have information because we're talking about real estate, and people might not know the information you just gave out right there.
Right. I
So
know they don't really want to talk about it. I feel like, it would be better if more people were open about the splits and stuff like that. And maybe that would help newer agents understand.
really, okay.
Because I feel like they don't get a full picture. They're only told what maybe one brokerage is telling them. They don't get advice really unless they join a team. And some people don't want to join a team.
Can you shop around for brokerages and say like, and but like, I don't know if I'm like talking about stuff like that doesn't really like, behind closed doors, but can you go to like one brokerage? Would they tell you, or no, you gotta commit and then they tell you?
No. They tell you, but there are certain brokerages that won't entertain you if you have no sales. Like so very high end brokerages, they won't even answer your calls.
So during the time in Remax, so when did you start really start really propelling? How long did it take you in? So you started, when did you really start selling selling homes towards?
So I would say, and I got very, very lucky. Believe it or not, the first couple weeks I had clients at the first brokerage at Keller Williams, but I was like, I'm not going to close any deals with them. And they were legitimately my clients. It wasn't from their list.
Of course.
So I just took them all over to Remax. So I was already pretty much doing deals my first year. And I was very lucky this way. This is not how it usually is, but I just know a lot of people and I was getting referrals and things like that.
You say it's not like other people, but it sounds like regardless of what it is, you have formed relationships with people and clients, and myself too, because I'm one of your clients, that you hold yourself to a high standard where you are, that people, I'm not selling my house unless it's Melissa. Like, I think that I'm serious. And I think that's very important that you have developed those types of relationships. Like how crucial it's like, I'm not selling to them.
I'm lucky. I mean, every client I've worked with, I truly like. I don't think I've ever been fired by a client, but I have fired only 3 clients. Okay.
That's
I mean,
not bad.
it takes a lot. It really takes a lot for
And
me to do it.
how many years you said you started, so we're at 10,
Anywhere from 8 to 10 years.
but three clients in that
3
in
clients,
that
and I
duration?
mean, you have to be something else for me to go, because I really have a lot of patience. So I don't really care about answering calls at 11 o'clock at night.
No,
or
you don't.
Constantly working.
Nope.
You call me at 6, I'm going to answer the phone.
You do.
If you ask me, hey, I want comps for this, and that, I'll do it. And in a good, timely manner too. I'm not going to make you wait a week or anything crazy. Like, I'm going to get those numbers out to you immediately.
One of the biggest things about when I started in real estate, like officially started, I started back in 2021 officially, like with trying to find a real estate agent. I went through a bunch, and I would get somebody, and it would be like, it was just like, I feel like I have to guide them, but why am I, as an investor, I need help. Why am I hiring you ultimately, Melissa? If I'm an investor, why am I going to hire you to help me find a house? What are you going to do for me? Like,
I mean, for me specifically, I actually do work with other investors, so I happen to know a lot about kind of flipping the home, and also my brother's a contractor, so I have a decent knowledge of what things will cost.
Of course, yes.
So then with that knowledge and also knowing the area, and I feel like I know most of Suffolk and Nassau pretty well, and parts of Queens, that if you tell me any town, I'm going to know what that house will go for. I mean, you could drop me off anywhere and I'll know.
Now, this ice cream business that you had, I know I'm going back a little bit. Did you have a truck? Did you have an ice cream truck?
No, I had a physical business. We had an ice cream cart, though.
I want to know if
parties.
that's how you got. So how'd you figure out the neighborhoods and stuff? Like what? I was trying to make a joke. It says besides ice cream here, we had a truck. No, but so how'd you figure out the neighborhoods and understand basically the numbers? Because every neighborhood in Long Island is really like hyper focused. Like it
was already established, that ice cream store. And believe it or not, before that, I had worked in ice cream stores. I worked at Haagen-Dazs in the mall at 16. And the place that I bought, I used to work there too. So I already knew everything about ice cream. And it was just a matter of kind of going over the financials. And although I was only 18, I actually ended up working with the Small Business Association because I didn't need the funding. But what I needed was a real business plan, and they help you do that for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. That's so cool. And one last question, and then we're going to move on from the ice cream. Do you still make it?
No, no. I mean, you need batch freezers. I mean, these are heavy equipment. I wouldn't be able to run it in my house. So,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it's
All right.
not.
Now so for me, when I was shopping around for real estate agents and see how people work, I didn't know really what to do. And I went through a bunch of real estate agents. I'm just like, and I had a coach. And my coach is like, Dan, you got to make an investment criteria. You have to give your real estate agent, what are you looking for? You can't just go to a real estate agent and say, hey, Melissa, I want to buy an investment property. And you're going to stare at me and go, well, what are you going to say? Like,
Yeah,
what kind? What kind? I'm
So
like,
many different types.
there's so many types. Are you trying to make cash flow? What are you trying to build equity? Are you looking for neighborhoods that really are distressed? Like there's just an endless amount of questions. And when I gave you my investment criteria, I could not believe your response. So I gave you my investment criteria. I said, oh, I'm looking at this house, and and then you would come to me with a flood, maybe 30 houses that fit that criteria. I'm just so overwhelmed. Like, holy crap, she narrowed it down. So I'm looking through this like, yes, this house makes numbers. Then as an investor, I would go in there, plug the numbers in, how much would it rent for, how much the insurance is, and I start putting the pieces together. But you actually stepped it up even more. I look at you, I'm like, I don't know which ones to do. It's like, don't worry about it. Sunday, because I'll tell you my time schedule, you set up this incredible schedule for me because I say I work during the week and Sundays is really my only day. You would set up this incredible schedule for me. It's like, Dan, meet me over at this house at 10 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, and then by 3 o'clock, we must seen 5 to 6 houses in that short period of time. And I think that is so vital.
Yeah, I mean, I think giving the most options you can to a person really helps. A lot of people can get on Zillow, right? But now you're just putting in one area and you're seeing a bunch of houses. So if you have a really good, real estate agent or broker, it's best if we narrow it down and say, I know what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that is a fixer-upper, then I know what to take out of the list. And if you want something renovated, I know, especially with investors, because they're very specific on what they need to make money. So I know if I'm going to flip a house, I know what number it has to kind of be at.
Of course.
What number it has to go. But if they're going to rent, it's a little bit different. The margins are different. So I think, and also seeing the most amount of houses is very important because you need options.
That is so important because we must have collectively, I think you and me, and I've only been working with you for 2-3 years. I think collectively we must have seen well over 60 houses. Like,
at least. At least.
And I couldn't believe, so let me ask you this question. Why did you believe, I didn't buy a house from you, but why did you put all that energy and time into somebody like me? Because you probably get it all the time. Correct me if I'm wrong, that somebody says, oh, I want to invest in real estate. And what is the difference? I'm not trying to flatter myself, but
it's true.
But, is he a legit buyer? Are you wasting time? Because some people want to get into real estate and they entertain the idea and they're like, well, I want to get into real estate. And then can you see the writing on the wall?
Yeah, I mean, I have a good way of seeing if someone's serious or not. If someone tells me they want to, buy a house to invest, to rent or flip, we kind of go over the financial situation. Are they looking to mortgage? Are they looking to do cash? The one person I'm not going to take a chance is a person that always calls me about a piece of land and they want to build from the ground up. This is the one person I'm sorry. I mean, I have to know that you've done it already because I can't entertain this.
I don't know.
They call so often.
Really?
Just random people. Yeah, I saw this land, so I want to build a house, but I don't know where to start. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is way over your head. If you've never done it and you have no experience in this, I can't bring you there.
That is way beyond. Not to discredit you, but that's way beyond your pay grade. You have to know zoning, the government behind it, how much you can build, what's the square footage,
the variances,
everything.
They don't understand that, and they just go, well, I want to do my own house, my own compound, and I'm like, yeah, I need you to have more information.
So I think this is important to really highlight what Melissa's saying here, and as I want to provide information as I do this podcast as well, is that you got to have an investment criteria. You have to give tools to your real estate agent so they can navigate the waters that what you want to invest in, right?
Absolutely.
And for me, that was having a coach telling me, well, Dan, what do you want to do? Do you want to fix and flip? I'm like, no, I want to own rental properties. And he's like, okay, well, here's the business model. This is what you should be studying, and you should be looking in the market for this. And I remember going to my coach. I'm like, do I buy this? And my coach go right back at me. He goes, hey, Dan, are you asking me whether you should buy a house or not? I'm like, yeah, should I buy this house? Is it good? Guess what? You shouldn't be buying a house. I'm like, what? He's like, you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're not ready to buy a house. You're sitting there asking me to make one of the most biggest financial decisions of your life.
Of course.
All right? One of the biggest financial decisions, and you want to say, is this okay? That's not what I do. That's what my coach did. And you're mentioning like how they helped you build a business. And same thing with my coach. He helped me build a business. Yes, real estate, but he helped me how to build a business. But ultimately, I was educated how to, okay, this is how I'm going to build a rental portfolio. So with I'll bring it back up, but like the ice cream industry and what you were doing there, did that help you build the Dreyfuss team?
Yeah, I would say that, anything you do in life, I feel helps you later in life. When I had the business at 18, it taught me to work very hard. I mean, I was working crazy hours making ice cream, and I also was selling ice cream wholesale to other ice cream places. So,
You're wholesaling ice cream. Yes. Yes.
And I still have nightmares to this
Oh my
day
God.
that I'm making ice cream and I keep running out. This actually happened to me when I had the store. So this is why this is a reoccurring nightmare now.
Yeah.
It's been like over, 20 years, and I still have this dream. So
Oh,
yeah.
it's like the dream of, like, for me, it's like, for me, it's the teeth falling out. I
I'd
don't
rather
know.
that one.
What?
I'd rather my teeth fall out in a dream
Then
because I know I'll get veneers. So I know there's like a way to get out of it. Teeth.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. You were about to say something?
No, I was saying that basically, any business that you have,
Yes.
you take the tools there and you apply it to whatever you're doing. It's almost, I don't want to say it's the same thing, but it's the same kind of base model. And when you're a real estate agent, you are running a business. We are 1099s for the most part, except for
I didn't even know that.
these Zillow agents. They are not. So it's every day I say I wake up unemployed and I got to get myself a job.
Wow. No wonder. Does that build anxiety?
I feel that I work really great under pressure, and I don't know. I like to torture myself like this.
But I think it's not even that. I think that there's the people that I've been talking to and I'm bringing on the podcast. There's a certain personality that I've been trying to highlight, especially. It's not like you're torturing yourself. It's like no matter what, you are not giving up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's very hard for me, and even those 3 clients that I fired, I was a wreck because I feel like I've lost in some way, and I hate to lose. I'm extremely competitive. I've always been that way. So it's like if I'm giving up, I've lost now. I'm not completing this task, and that's pretty hard. So I usually like to see it through,
So you're you're competitive?
Extremely.
Oh, wow.
But I'm competing against myself. That's the problem.
Bingo. I think that's very important to highlight.
I'm trying to up myself every time.
Was there a certain moment that you felt like I've gotten to a certain, like, I've gotten, wow, like I definitely had those moments where I'm like, holy crap, like I'll be standing in a new property, it's complete remodel. I'm like, holy shit, like I'm here. Like, did you ever have one of those moments like where you've been dying to get to this level and then you're there and then you're just like, you just take like a minute pause. You're like, holy crap. Did you have any?
So I've had that feeling of, wow, I can't believe I'm here. But then the next feeling is I have to stay here. And because if you're up, you must come down. So I'm like, oh, I got to stay up,
Yeah.
So that's always been a big thing. And real estate changes so much, right? You'll have good years, you could have a bad year. So you constantly have to really be on your grind to stay on top. And that is very difficult.
Of course. I want to bring up, I really do want to bring up this story because I do know you for quite some time and I know a little bit about your personal life. You fell into a coma.
Yes.
And, I never asked you about that story until a few days ago because I didn't know like what happened. Did this happen? This happened. But I'm like, I really wanted to hear the story. And I knew I could have asked you. I just never brought the
Yeah,
time up.
I'm an open
But,
book.
but you told me the story, and I would love, in the best way of
Of course.
what you're about to share is absolutely incredible. So can you tell us like what happened?
Yeah, so I would say, and now I think we're year 3 that I'm coma free. 3 years ago, right before I went to Realty Connect, I was doing a transition and I was feeling sick for a few days. And to my old friend's credit, she was there for me because my husband was away. And we went to urgent care. They're like, you're fine. And then the next day she came over and my oxygen was really low.
What was that at?
It was in maybe 82, 83, something
Wow.
dangerously low
Yeah.
where 911 came and they brought me to Stony Brook. And I'm glad I picked there because I'm right between South Shore and Stony Brook. And, they didn't take me seriously at first. They said, "Oh, she's got anxiety." And my friend's like, that's not anxiety. You don't know her. Oh, and she was fighting with the doctors and they finally came in, thankfully.
Wow. Thank God your friend knew that. Thank God your
Yeah.
friend like just shove it down because with me and my wife, like we always have this discussion about medical care and stuff. It's like they don't know. And it's like, oh yeah, they're fine. Like no, you just don't know the person. We know what
Exactly.
we know what the anxiety attack is. This is not the anxiety attack.
Exactly. And you know what? Because I come from a family of nurses. But I think after COVID, sometimes they've gotten a little jaded because they've seen so much. So I remember telling a nurse, "Hey, I can't breathe." And she was like, "You're fine." And
Oh,
she's like, "If
good.
you're talking, you're fine." And that's actually, by the way, that's not true. You can still not be breathing if you're talking. Just so we're clear, you can Google that.
I know you. Thank God you can laugh about it. But like, yeah, we're talking about real estate. We're talking about this, but I always love to hone in on these backstories and these life experiences, and these are key elements of like people. Like, yeah, you tell me, oh, he's breathing, they're fine. Now I'm really gonna think twice, for that, especially. I have kids and stuff, so it's like you're just delivering good information, and
I think it's important. And really, after the doctor told me within 1 hour, I was on a ventilator. 1 hour.
and what year was this?
This was three years ago.
So okay,
So we were March of 3 years ago. So I don't know what. Yeah, I can't even remember what
yeah,
year
I
that
know.
was.
So I mean, I'm so there with you. So
have to do the math.
so 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, my husband actually landed from his business trip. They said, your wife is dying. So he comes right to the hospital and they go, as a last ditch effort, she has about a 1% chance to live.
Holy crap.
Do you want to put her on ECMO? And this is the highest form of life support. So this is what people get put on, when they're about to pass to try to get them to live.
Oh, just hold on there 1 second. How much information did your husband know? Because he was traveling.
Not much.
Can you
I mean, I feel terrible
oh my
for
God,
him
your
because
husband, like,
he was definitely a wreck on that plane ride, knowing I was in the hospital.
Okay, so
and then getting that call that I'm gonna pass, and he's got to get down there. And he said that the lady behind him yelled at him for something on the plane. He's like screaming, "My wife might be dying," and he just had a fight on the plane on the way out. And I felt terrible for him because, when you're in a coma, you don't know what everyone else is going through. Everyone's going through something around you. That's a lot to put on your family. Not on purpose, of course, but my mother went through a lot. My father flew in, my friends, and at the time,
of course, if you got a phone call that your relative is literally on her deathbed from out of nowhere, yeah, everybody's gonna hone in like, what's going on with Melissa?
Of
Like,
course.
yeah, I mean, it's like, and literally, it's like you're young. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, she wasn't in a car accident. Like it
Exactly.
wasn't anything excessive. What's happening here? So that must have been so chaotic.
yeah, he said he dropped his knees when he was at Stony Brook because he just couldn't believe it.
I would too. If it was my wife, if it was Alexa and my wife, absolutely. Jesus, that's
Yeah, I mean, you think your
horrible.
whole life is about to be destroyed in a matter of seconds. I was 35, about to turn 36. So,
Yeah.
I was young and they're telling him, well, she has the flu. And everyone's like, how could the flu do this to somebody at 35 years old,
Wow, man. Oh, wow. So like you were saying, you were doing basically a transitional period.
Right. I had just moved to Realty Connect. But what happened is I still had deals at Remax. So now when I get under this coma, I think at some point my husband called somebody from Realty Connect to tell them what happened, and they had to figure out how they were going to navigate this because when you die, your broker takes over your listings, but I am not dead, but I'm not quite alive. So,
Don't take my. Oh my
exactly,
God.
don't take my listings.
Thanks. But let's stick on track. And I know I mentioned the transition, but let's stick on track with the story. So what was happening at the hospital? Your husband came and
They came, they asked him if do you want to put her on ECMO? And the reason why people decline that is because it is very dangerous. It's the highest form of life support. It's going to basically give your heart and lungs a rest while they take out your blood, put oxygen in it, and put it back into you.
Wow.
So there's a lot of side effects of that: brain damage, blood clots, people lose limbs and stuff like that. But he said, I just decided that if you were going to pass, let's give this a try anyway.
Yeah, give it just whatever it is. If there is 0.00001% for this to work, yeah. And it's going to
Let's go for it.
It's going to cost hundreds of thousands. Yeah. It's my wife. It's yeah, absolutely. So good.
So, and also my husband is friends with a few doctors, one being a really big cardiologist in NY Langone. So he also was getting advice from her.
Okay, good.
So I think that really helped a lot. I don't think, and I've asked my parents this, I don't think they would have put me on ECMO because they were afraid of, maybe in their mind they thought maybe they could pray and it would go away.
Yeah.
Because ECMO is still life-threatening, to be on it.
It's such an overwhelming decision to make. It's not a decision where I could see your family side and then I could see your husband's side.
Right.
There's two aspects to look at it, and then it's like it literally could have gone wrong. And then you're like, why did you do that?
Exactly.
Why did you do that? And then it could go the other way around. It's like, well, why didn't you do that one? And it's just, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I do believe there is something bigger than us, in my personal opinion, that was speaking to your husband, and it just this was the course of action in your life.
No, and I believe that a lot of people prayed for me. A lot of clients from different religions were all praying for me,
of course.
friends, and I think the power of prayer helped. No matter what anyone believes in, whatever religion, I think we all have some sort of higher power we
100%.
believe in. So I think that helped also.
So they put you on that, and then what was the next things? What were the next things that were happening? So what was so you got into the coma. How long were you in the coma?
So I was in that ECMO for 5 days.
Wow.
So of course, when you're in a coma, you're on so many drugs. It's in a medically induced coma, so you have hallucinations in this coma. And in my case, I've had endless nightmares. When you dream and you wake up, there is no waking up when you're in a coma. So it just kept going on repeat, these nightmares for 5 days straight while I was in this coma. That was terrifying.
Do you think that's a side effect from?
No, it is a side effect.
No. Like you were mentioning the whole ice cream debacle, but why you have that dream where you said that's worse than your teeth falling out, but like, do you think that is a side effect or no?
No, I don't think so. The nightmares were 10 times worse than you could ever imagine.
Wow, so you're just
in
living
a coma.
You're just living in your brain. You're in your brain.
You're in your brain. I talked to other ECMO survivors. Not that there's a lot of them, to tell you the truth.
Really?
And if they are, it's unfortunate. They have a lot of medical issues. Some have lost limbs. Some are still, not able to walk. Some people have problems speaking because of the tubes they put down your throat.
Of course, yeah.
So I think I'm the only one in my ECMO group that actually has nothing physically wrong with them coming out of it.
So the doctors must have been saying, what the hell is happening here?
I feel like, they did look through hospital books because they didn't, my bronchular tubes became the size of coffee stirrers. So they were like, we don't know why this is even happening.
Wow.
It just didn't make sense.
When the things, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, after, obviously you're here today, thank God, but what was, did the doctors ever give you a statistic on like your case? Like, was it such a unique case? Like it's been unheard of, or has there been a few like yours out to the country or something like that?
So not really the flu. What you see people going on ECMO for in the last couple of years was COVID. Because
Correct.
COVID stopped you from breathing.
Of course.
And going back, Stony Brook has 4 ECMO machines, but they're the only one in Suffolk County that has ECMO.
The only ones?
They're the only one in Suffolk.
Wow.
So I was real lucky to go there and not to maybe South Shore, even though they're a good hospital, but they don't have those machines there.
Of course.
And I was lucky it was after kind of COVID happened because those machines would have been in use. And then,
100%.
you know,
I don't think I'll be looking at you right now. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think the doctors knew anyone that actually had the flu. Like, because the flu really, it is harmful, but to the elderly or to babies,
Not to a 35, not a
yeah.
35-year-old.
So they were just confused why that did that to me. I mean, we'll never know.
Wow. So you still to this day don't have a definitive answer.
Just that it was the flu. They believed it was some sort of perfect storm where I had an asthma attack. But the thing is, I never had asthma before.
Oh.
And I don't have asthma now. So, you know, how could I have an asthma attack when I don't have asthma? I mean, this is the only
That's like
thing I've
saying,
got
yeah, you're
from
going
them.
to a diabetic coma, but I'm not a diabetic. Like, you're legitimately not a diabetic. It's like, you know, it's
Yeah,
just like
I mean-
you're just getting into, wow, that's wild. So, well, thank you for obviously sharing the
course.
aspect of that. So I think it's very inspirational too. I think a lot of things to highlight there was just your husband's decision making, the power of prayer, your family coming in as one. I think it's so important that when things happen so drastically to somebody's life, and I had my moments in my life where you take a lot of maybe certain things for granted, and then you come out of that situation because you see all the support, you see everybody coming together. How's Melissa doing? You're probably getting all that, and then I'm going to say this because I know this. You probably came out of that coma saying, I have to keep moving as fast as quickly as possible.
I mean, I was working in the hospital. So when I came out of that coma, I mean, once I was able to get the tubes out, obviously, I was like, I have to call clients. I'm like, I have people to call. They're like, you got to relax, you know?
So Melissa this morning posted on her Instagram, life of a realtor, and it was a person on a longboard in like the Caribbean or some type of beautiful place in the world on a longboard, and the person sitting down at a desktop typing on a laptop saying realtors on vacation. I think yours, unfortunately, it should be the other way around, in the freaking hospital bed typing on a computer. Melissa Dreyfuss.
That was definitely me. I was taking calls in the bathroom
Jesus.
because someone said, "What is that beeping noise in the background?" And I said, "Oh wow, I can't take calls in my hospital bed. I got to bring this whole shebang with me in the bathroom because I keep hearing that beeping noise." And my voice didn't work that great because of the tubes going in. So I had to strain my voice, and at times I asked my mother to get on the phone with me.
What is your husband saying about all this? I got to defend him a little bit. I got to get into the husband's shoes. I got to get into Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark. Yeah.
So what is Mark like? He's there like watching you. Like, what the hell is he saying to you?
He is just happy I'm alive, and he's just saying like work can wait till later. But I'm sure other agents know, deals don't stop if something happens to you. If they're in motion, they got to keep going.
100%.
And I'm a bit of a control freak. So like even though my
In a good way.
managing broker took over, I'm like, I have to take it back and I have to do it my way. So I couldn't help myself. I was going through offers because I had properties on the market. And I just, was taking phone calls, and a few people were asking me to see houses, and I was like, "Oh yeah, next Monday," because I thought that's when I was getting out of the hospital. I'll show you these houses.
Let me check my schedule. Hold on. Doctor, when am I getting out? What? It's like, what are you talking about? You're not leaving here. It's like,
Yeah, it was crazy.
So how long were you in the hospital for?
So what happened is, I thought we were all good after this coma, and I woke up and this and that, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna pack our things." I think maybe I was at that point. It was like maybe 2 weeks. But then the day I was leaving, I dropped to the ground because I had 2 blood clots that dislodged, and that's a side effect from ECMO blood clots. And they were like, "Yeah, we have to make sure that the blood clots get to, I guess, smaller or dissipate before you leave." So I ended up being there, I think, almost a month.
Wow. And then during that month, you went through all that, and then simultaneously, you are just running your real estate business.
Pretty much. And there were some clients that didn't know I went in this coma. So, like, I remember, like,
Of
the
course, it's not like-
second day I came home, they were like, yeah, because part of the thing is you have to kind of learn how to write again, walk up the stairs, because my brain was, like, kind of, like, off. So when I got my phone, I couldn't text at first. So I was like, oh no, I don't remember how to text. So I was like kind of trying to learn all this stuff quickly and walk, because since you're not moving your legs,
Everything.
you got to learn it all. So I remember the second day I came home and they were like, we don't want you to drive. I was like, I have to go. I have an appointment.
And you drove?
I drove. I just said I didn't care. I want to leave and I got to go to work. And they were like, yeah, I thought you were going to take some time. And I showed this client a house and it has stairs. And I'm like, oh no, I can't walk up these stairs. I don't know how to.
Hold on. Did you like Jordan? You ever see The Wolf of Wall Street?
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies.
That part where and all the lewds kick in and then he's fucking, he's like, Jordan, what are you saying? And then he's trying to get to his car. He's like, and then he tells the whole entire scene and then he's trying to get down those stairs. So what happened?
I was like, yeah, if I try to walk up these stairs, because they've already asked me what was wrong with my voice, right? They were like, what is going on? Because I still had those voice issues. And I was like, oh, I've been screaming a lot.
You must have been also not talking right, even with the tubes in your throat and not like pronouncing words, maybe not just flowing. Maybe you have some blanks in, like, were you having those experiences?
So yeah, my voice was so strained from the tubes that it sounded not right. And then I did have some missing memories, but I was so determined to show these houses. And actually, that was the client that me and Pete shared. So, I mean, I guess he helped me with the recovery part.
Before, oh my God. Pocket Pete, she's mentioning that there was a client they both worked together on. And what happened there, Melissa?
So, I mean, my client, he's not my client.
Was this one of the three? They got fired?
This is
one of the three. Okay.
Well,
So
I don't know if I'd consider him fired. We both went our separate ways.
okay, fine. Mutual. See you later.
Yeah. I mean, not because I did anything, because he told me he wanted to buy this house. I had shown him a couple houses and everything was good. And even though I was missing for that month, we stayed in contact when I came out of that coma. And he had no idea. You know, he just didn't know. But, you know, Pete had a wonderful lady. He was selling his house and she was buying a place from somebody else who was selling their co-op and sold their business to move to Vermont to be next door to their sister. My client started playing games with the financing and this and that. And then after like 4 or 5 months being in contract, and I asked my client a million times, are you going through with this? Because I feel like you're giving them the runaround. Ooh. He decides to back out and puts, you know, Pete's client got really upset. She ended up, you know, going to the hospital, you know, and it was a domino effect. Lady who's selling her co-op, she's like, I sold my business already.
I don't blame can't blame the lady. I mean, essentially, like,
no, it wasn't those clients' fault. It was my client's fault for what he did.
Oh my God.
I know, and that's hard.
I'm sorry. Yes, the way you were. Jeez. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, of course. If I'm her too, if I'm thinking I'm packing up and leaving, and I sold my house, and I'm going somewhere else, and then that's not happening, and then the person she's buying from sold her business. She put a deposit on a house in Vermont to be next door to her sister. That house was perfect. I mean, this is a real domino effect.
Yeah. Oh my. We're gonna pivot a little bit more from there, but I do want to highlight some great stuff from everything you explained from the coma and that. Do you think? Thing I want to highlight. Do you think you just going right back to work from all that darkness and hardness and just saying that you're not? You just have to shoot to the moon. Like you can't stop.
So first thing I wanted to do, I said, I will never be in a position again where no one knows what to do if something happens to me. That's why I started a team, because I was like, this.
Oh, so that's how you wow. I didn't
right in that hospital
did not have to ask you the question. How'd you start the team? But that's how the team started.
That's exactly how it started. My mom went and got her license. She started studying while I was in the hospital. And I was like, yeah, I have to have a plan in motion. God forbid something happens.
You mentioned the domino effect. So the domino effect for that was that this bad thing happened, and in your head you're like, well, you know what? I gotta make a team. Hey, mom, go get. How did that go? About
no, my mom is just down for anything.
Because I had her do houses with me. It's like I remember when she first introduced, like, yeah, I'm Melissa's mom. I'm like, what? I'm like,
we definitely have very different personalities.
Oh yeah. From you to her, I was like, really, you're Melissa's mom? He's like, yeah. Like, you see my father, like, really? And I got the sweet old Italian man.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we have different personalities, but I knew my mom was great for it, because one thing she will always do is not only be on time, but she'll be early.
Yeah.
And anything I tell her to do, she'll always come and support the open houses. If I need someone like actually yesterday, I called her 30 minutes before an appointment, and my dog was sick. I said, "Can you go to these appointments?" She was all ready. She went and left, and did my appointments for me. So I mean, you can't get better than that.
No, you can't. And I think ultimately, especially a parent who just wants to see their daughter
Of course.
succeed, and it must be. I think has that brought you guys closer together? Do you think like having the work like that type of relationship, like because
I think it's interesting because I have to remind her that I'm running the show.
oh, never mind. Well, it's like for me and my father. I got into construction in the city because of him. But I've worked with my father since I was a kid. But I always he would get in his work van. I would run after him. My mom would have to hold me back. It's like, you're going to work. But like in the recent years, like doing this real estate stuff, I really got a lot closer with my father, where we're talking business transactions, and it's so incredible because it was something I always wanted in my life to have I have an incredible relationship with my father. My father would do anything for me, but just to get into his business aspect, because my father
Yeah.
was so smart and just working hard, and that's where I get my work ethic is just like, yeah, we're not stopping. Like me and him would work on houses, and then it'll be like 1 o'clock, and he's like, "Did you eat lunch?" I'm like, "No, I can't. We gotta stop. We gotta keep going." I'm like, "Well, no, you have to stop." And he's looking at me, he's like, "You gotta stop. We gotta eat lunch," because that's always important to him. But it was always like, I think the family portion of it is so cool. I think,
Yeah.
that's why
I mean, your dad's great. I've met him before. I
Yeah.
think he's very intelligent. He definitely knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think I've told you before in the past, like, that's the person you need to go to. That's the guy right there. If you got that person in your life, you go to that person, you know?
But what was crazy in the beginning, he knows about it. It was very difficult to see my vision,
Right.
to see my vision and see the people that I put into place. And is this really going to work? And it worked. Like it took time. It took almost 3 years, but it worked. And now I'm like, between obviously my wife is number one, but then him is, I'm like my two giant supporters in this whole real estate venture. And it's just remarkable. It's just we get to do this.
Yeah.
I just love it. And then my wife works, like I don't even pick up the phone sometimes because I'm at work and I'm really focusing on what is going on at work. That's why I actually have not called you to see any houses. I haven't seen any
I know
houses.
you got a lot on your plate.
So I've been just working my W-2 like a dog. So like my wife is involved with my dad, and I just hear them bantering. And luckily my wife has a really good relationship with my father too, because we live next door to each other. But it's so fucking cool. It's so cool because that's my team. That's the GM
That's your
Brown.
team, yeah.
That's my GM Brown team is my wife and my father.
Can't get better than that. Your dad and your wife. I mean,
100%.
nobody's going to support you the way your spouse, I mean, assuming that most people have good
No,
spouses, right?
Yes, of course.
And your parents, those are the people that are in your corner,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's so cool. Where did I want? Oh, now I know I wanted to pivot. We got to have a little fun on the podcast. All right, here we go. This is gonna be a good question.
Uh-oh.
How many dogs you got?
Oh. I have 3 dogs.
Okay.
I have one I'm babysitting.
Okay. So you have 3 dogs. First, what breed?
Okay, so I have a dachshund, and this thing is going to live forever. I adopted it at 12. It's now 18 and a half. The
God.
19th birthday is in July. But the worst part of this is it was 2 years ago. It needed back surgery.
I remember. Oh my God, I remember.
And I
you were
mean,
showing me how.
that was a fortune. And I remember telling the doctor, like, hey, this dog's a little bit older. Well, age is not a disease. So I said, oh, all right, well, take my card then, I guess.
You can come in. Don't worry. Don't worry. You just hang out. Go on.
Yeah, so I mean, they kind of backed me into a corner for paying for that. And I have an old Chihuahua. She's 14. And then I just got a Cavalier, and she's only 1.
Wow. Okay. What are the, well, how much do you love your dogs?
I mean, a lot. We figured out what we spent on these animals, and I have 2 guinea pigs too that I rescued.
Wait, are you running a farm?
Pretty much, and I have feral cats that I take care of as well. We spent on, I kid you not, at least $1,000 a month on the pets.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
Well, I have 3 pets. I love my dog. I love my dog. And then again, I don't love them and I have 2 cats. I don't love them because I have my 2 kids, and there's just so much hair.
Oh, I know.
There's so much
I
hair. How do you
know.
deal with that?
I mean, shout out to my cleaning lady because I try not to.
How often does she come?
She comes once a week. So I mean, she's thorough, and I just have to do a little couple light things.
All right, I need her number.
So I mean, I love her. She's
I
so good, and she's good with the dogs. I think that's to me the biggest thing. I don't want anyone. My dogs don't listen to me. I mean, they don't sit, they don't stay, they don't do anything I tell them. They do whatever they want to do.
Is this the one thing in your life you don't have control over?
I have no control over them. They control me. They are in charge of me. If aliens came down here, they would think they were running the show at this point. That's how bad it is.
Really? I always think about stuff like that. What is the aliens thinking going on down on planet Earth? It's like, why are they?
They think that I work for these dogs.
You do?
100%.
You do? I'm sorry. I work for my dog.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God! I had to ask the dogs because I just see when you post about your dogs
All the time, right? I know it's crazy.
No, listen, animals are an incredible thing. I love them. What I wanted to do in my life was here's a funny story. Like, I really didn't know what I wanted to do later on in life. Like really later on. Like when I retire. One of my things when I do retire, and Alexa wants me to retire now. If that makes sense. She wants us to move to Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for my audience that doesn't know that, both my parents are from Sicily. We have a house. I grew up there since I was
Yeah, I've seen all the posts.
Yeah. So like when I go there, people are like, Dan, you've been in Italy for like a month. I'm like, yeah, but it's different. I just pay for the flight and then we have a car, we have a house. I've been going there my whole life. So my wife wants me to move there now. Like just like, but one of my things I want to do that because animal care in Italy, I'm sorry to break it to you, is really terrible. They don't care about their animals. There's a lot of stray dogs, and there's it's sad. It's terrible. And like I wanted to open like an animal shelter.
I'm really surprised because I've been to Italy and I mean I didn't see any strays, but I just didn't feel like that vibe was there. I'll be honest with you.
Really? Where were you in Italy?
I was in Rome.
Oh, so that's different.
Yeah.
Sicily is the countryside.
No, yeah, I know it's different down there.
I'm not saying they don't care about their animals. It's just not. It's not
the way it is over here in America where
100%.
we just do everything and we're just out of control.
One of my relatives, believe it or not, he's actually a good friend of mine. My father's friend. He's actually a big politician down in Sicily. Before he became a politician, he was a pharmacist, a regular pharmacist, and he noticed there were no pharmaceuticals for not even just animal. It was overall animals. So he made one of the first. If correct me if I'm, and you will correct me when I get home when you watch this. But I'm pretty sure he's one of the first to actually establish this basically like a medical care for horses for animals, and like he like took.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and like it was just like to go from like human to that, like because of his background, and then he created this business for animal care was.
I mean, to have an idea like that in itself is amazing, but to also be helping at the same time, I think we all want to do something like that. You know, of course.
Of course, yeah. All right. I know I had to have fun with Melissa's dogs. That's something I just had to hone in on her. Let's dive in a little bit. Like what is happening right now? It's April 2020. 25. Obviously, not to get into political stuff. I'm not big on that at all. But just not to get in politically. But let's talk a little bit about the market.
So I mean, the market. I feel like there's a direct correlation with. Unfortunately, the stock market. So when the stock market is down, you see less people wanting to, buy houses because sometimes they take money out of the stock market. So if they're down, nobody wants to take out money. I actually had somebody decide not to sell their place and buy a place because of the stock market.
Really?
And it's understandable. Maybe he wasn't ready all the way. And I liked him a lot, but I want people to do what they think is best for them.
Of course.
So, and I've had other clients tell me they were concerned too with, taking out money to purchase a house. It depends what your financial situation is. I always say the best time to buy a house is when you're ready. So it could be today, it could be next year.
Really?
It depends what your financial situation is.
No, of course, yes.
If you wait for the perfect time, you may not find that perfect time.
I want to talk a little bit about the financial stuff because financials, personal finances with people. Do you see people getting into properties or things you really don't think they should be getting into? Like like, I know you're not a financial advisor, but as a real estate agent,
Yeah, I have, and I'll say something actually.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think a lot of people think they can get into the, let's just say, $1 million home, and they really should be getting maybe the $750,000 home. Like,
I mean, I try to guide my clients that we should try to get the most home for the least amount of money every time.
huh? Okay.
You know, and if it's between two houses, and I go, this happens probably a lot. And one house is 650, another one's 600. I'm telling my client, hey, why don't you go with the 600? You know, unless you absolutely need that other house, because I want them to save money as much as they can when they buy a house, because I know things are going to come up.
You care about their personal finances.
Yeah, yeah. I think they come away. And yesterday, one of my clients was looking at a co-op, and he said, "Oh, I loved it. What do you think?" And I said, "The maintenance is outrageously high." It was so high.
HOA?
Maintenance it's a co-op.
Oh, it
This
is,
the
okay.
same thing though. And I said the problem I have with that is it's only going to go up.
Yeah.
So you're better off paying more for another co-op and having less of a maintenance, but you'll have equity. You know, and you could buy, you could refi, you could do a bunch of stuff. You can't do anything when a maintenance is too high.
When you get clients like this, you obviously spend a lot of time. I'm a first-time home buyer, Melissa, and I'm 26 years old, and I have $150,000 to buy.
On Long Island, that's really good for 26 with 150.
I know, right? I mean, I bought my first house when I was 26, and my father had to give me my down payment. My down payment was very, very different. It was $90,000, but I ultimately had to pay him back. But okay, should I make more okay? Let me get a little tighter. All right. I have 50,000. I'm looking to buy a house. So do you gather like what they can afford from that aspect? So and then educate them on that?
I mean, Well, I make sure they get a pre-approval. I mean,
okay,
you need a mortgage broker, hands
100%.
down. I mean, will I show you a couple houses before you're pre-approved? Sure, possibly. But I have to get you in touch with the mortgage broker. He or she is gonna know how much you can afford,
yes,
how much your closing costs are going to be, what type of loan you're going to get. I mean, that is not what I do. So I have to be careful not to cross any lines with the mortgage brokers.
Yes, of course. You have to stick in your lane. It's
exactly.
tough because both you need, listen, there's so many elements. You have the real estate agent, the broker. You have the financial advisor, the mortgage broker, then you have the attorney, then you have the insurance, then you have the entitle company, especially here in New York.
But those three people, the agent, the mortgage broker, and the attorney, are the most important people.
Yes.
Please assemble a good team, everybody.
100%.
If you're watching this is important because I see a lot of people make this mistake. They get an attorney that does not do real estate, and they will kill a deal faster than you could ever imagine.
Oh my God, we almost lost a house. Before I got to my actual, I'm serious.
I know.
My father wanted to kill this guy. I just could not believe like what was happening. And it was all because of a piece of paper did not get filed because the guy just didn't know
it's serious.
It's like, what? Are you kidding me?
They just, you know what it is for them? They'll always say, hey, I can do the real estate deal. And that's true, they can. But they don't know every in and out to that deal. You're not really, and I think a lot of people pick the attorney that they know who maybe did their will or something like that. But that attorney doesn't specialize in that. When you go see a doctor, if you have a heart problem, are you going to see, a brain surgeon? No. You're going to see a cardiologist.
Come on.
So same thing should go for attorneys. Go with someone that specializes in that.
She makes a good point. When it comes to stuff like this, and I really hope there's a good tip, like I have a family attorney. He handles all my family affairs. That's a specialized attorney. I have an attorney that you have dealt with that is my real estate attorney. And it's good that my real estate agent knows my attorney because also contracts are being huge. And they can literally be sitting on the sidelines because somebody then clicks send.
They just don't put all their effort into it. So, a real estate attorney, he's going to get you on the contract in like 3 days.
Boom.
But if one of them is not a real estate attorney, I've seen that thing sit for 2 to 3 weeks before.
That is horrifying. And that will kill a
Someone
deal.
else will take the deal from you.
100%. In this type of market, and especially here in New York, you have to be
aggressive.
You have to be aggressive. You have to, like you said, you have to have your team. I consider you one of my, legit, I have a list on my computer. Dan's professional team. And it does say,
And there's
Melissa,
only one broker, and it's me. All right,
yeah,
so let's
of
keep
course.
it that way. No, I'm just kidding.
No, of course, but it's also you have to be transparent to you, and you know when I'm doing certain things because I give you properties. I'm like, listen, Melissa, I'm looking to buy actually a wholesale deal. You're not going to make any money on it, but I am 100% honest with you. But we have done transactions before. But you know, ultimately, at some point, I'm going to come to you one day. I'm like, Melissa, I need
Of
you to
course.
you're going to sell me this house. I need you to sell me this house. Like, and we have this relationship where I pick up the phone and I know I'm going to get a fucking answer like that. And it'll be 11 o'clock at night. Hey, listen, I need a seller's report, but it has nothing to do with you. And you will still help me out because we have developed a relationship.
Right.
We both make each other, we make each other money.
Exactly. I mean, everybody's got to win kind of in a deal and in a
100%.
relationship, right? I don't mind helping. You know, we've established that we've gotten houses together. I know you'll get more houses in the
You
future.
know that.
I mean, the way you're going,
You know what I'm
I
going.
mean, there's going to be an insane amount of houses.
Yes.
You know, are they all going to be through me? Probably not, but that's okay. As long as you keep going, you know?
Of course. But I want to go back to the professional team. Like for me, you're on my list as my real estate agent and my broker. Boom, I know who to call. I have my insurance broker. Boom, I know who I'm going to call. My attorney. And then when I see a deal that comes across an email and I go see the house, I'm like, okay, let's get the wheels moving. Melissa, I want to make an offer. Here's how much. Well, Dan, how much you want to put down? Put this down. What are your terms? These are all prior conversations, and you know what my style is, and you know what I'm looking for, and you call me back like, Dan, you sure you want to be doing this? And like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
You'd be like just as a professional and as like just you know it better than me. I'm not a real estate agent. I will hopefully buy 1 or 2 houses a year at this point, but I mean. Man, I mean, how many transactions are you up to? It's like you must be up to a lot. So you know a lot more than me.
I mean, I try, and I also try to stay active in gaining more knowledge because the industry is ever changing too. So I think that's important as well.
What is changing right now? Like, what's the big?
I mean, I would say for
What's the big
most
thing?
agents, you know, we had a different, you know, obviously most people know about the lawsuit we had over the summer about buyers agents commissions.
Of course. So that's different percentage. We used to have a set. You guys used to have a set.
We never had a set thing. It was always negotiable. This
Really?
is why it's strange.
Wow. And I didn't even know that.
The commissions have always been negotiable, and especially on Long Island, they are very, very negotiable. But you saw in other states that they felt that people were teaming together to all say I'm just throwing out a number, 6%, right?
Okay.
And you know that some guy got his obviously the class action lawsuit, and he said, "Oh, it's not right. It's this whole big thing." And so, real estate brokerages got sued thinking that they were banding together to keep it at one rate, one commission. But that's not really how it happened. And especially here in Long Island, it was always negotiable.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Some agents are going to give breaks to investors that are constantly selling houses.
Of course.
If you're going to sell one house, it may be a different commission. Now, if your house is, $10 million, commission is probably going to be a little bit less than normal.
You bring up investors. Like you said, okay, gives a break to an investor. For me, like let's say you try to get me a house under contract. Say, listen, then I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I'm just throwing out the number. Dan, I'm only gonna give you like half a point. I'll do a half a point for the house, but you gotta, but I'm gonna flip it, and I'm gonna sell. You're gonna make the money back on the sale. So like more money on that. So it's like. This is where being creative too. I think is very, very important.
Right. We obviously, other investors go, "Hey, I'm going to buy this house through you, and I'm going to sell through you."
Yes.
And so obviously, there's more room for negotiation there.
Yeah.
And if it's an investor of mine that buys a couple properties a year, of course, I'm going to,
You're gonna cater to that.
I'm going to take it into consideration. Yeah. A couple things we consider too. What kind of work do I have to do for this house? Because, when it's an owner-occupied house, it's a lot different than a vacant house. And if the owner's an investor, it's not the same relationship you have as someone who lives in that house. There's an emotional attachment, so I have to be there too for them. If they're upset, if they're not happy with the deal, or they don't like the person buying it, there's all these other factors. Investors really don't think like that. these are the numbers. This is what I need to sell for, and nobody's upset. Just get me to the closing table.
100%. And I'm so happy. I have taken out the emotional factor when it comes to my investing.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's very tough because the first house is like, you're just trying to get there. And there's the emotion and trying to get in. I'm trying to get into this game. But then I'm at this point, it's like, listen, I'm going to give you this amount of money. And they're like, no, well, it's like, it's a
take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. I have a bunch of other things going on, and I know another house there's always going to be another house. There's always
going to be another house. That's why I tell clients, if you don't get the first house you want, there is a better house for you. And I have never had a client go, I wish I would have got that one instead. That's never happened to me.
Really?
So I'm truly convinced if they didn't get the house they wanted with that one offer, there's something better waiting for them.
Gotcha.
And that we're not going to split hairs about what we lost.
So changes was obviously one of the changes was
right, that they said that
the commissioners,
the sellers do not have to give commission out to the buyer's agent. Before here, you had to give commission out to a buyer's agent. However, the commission could have been $1 if you wanted to do it. If you wanted to really make it almost zero, you could have said, all right, I'm going to give the buyer's agent $1 to sell my house. And I mean, are people going to come see it? I don't know. You know what I mean?
We were on the phone. Remember when you told me, on the phone, you told me people trying to sell their house themselves. Like, oh my God.
Those are my favorites, though. It's a guilty pleasure to look at the for sale by owners all the time. When I see how many days they're on the market, what they price their house at.
It's crazy.
I'm like, and then the best part sometimes is when they go, I did my comps. And I'm like, you don't know how to do comps. You don't know. If you knew how to do comps, you wouldn't be at this number. For my audience,
what's comps? What's comps?
Comps is a compare analysis of everything that's sold in your area, and there is a criteria for this.
Yes.
So people think that the house across town in the same town is worth 700, so I should be 700. Across town may not be within a half a mile.
Especially here in Long Island, you can cross the street and you're in a different school district, and that is a completely different market.
Yeah, and types of houses count too. Colonial ranches, capes are sometimes less desirable. That changes, everything changes the numbers here. Yeah. People go, my neighbor, but my neighbor's
they think
your neighbor has a brand new kitchen. He has an in-ground pool. And it's funny, sometimes I get people go, well, who wants an in-ground pool? I'm like, well, a lot of people on Long Island, apparently.
Yeah.
There's a good amount that want that, and that adds a lot of value.
Yeah, no, 100%. Oh, man. The sale by owner. Oh, man.
For sale by owner... and if you guys know, the person who owns for sale by owner, he even got an agent to sell his house. So he doesn't even believe in his own company, and everyone could Google that one. The owner of FSBO, he actually used a broker to sell his house.
You're able to look up information on people's, let's say I want to look.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. How do you, so...
Well, so we have obviously something called public records on the MLS, and then I also use RPR.
RPR.
And that I can look at any house basically, I think in the US. I don't know if we could do other countries. I've never tried. But maybe I'll try tonight.
Oh, we're going to go to UK? Let's go to Italy.
So, it makes it easier. Like sometimes I'll have friends in Florida that want to sell, and I help them with getting agents there, and they'll kind of want me to do comps. Yeah. And I'll do the best I can. I go, remember, I don't have the knowledge of this specific area.
Of course.
Like I do here. But I could give you like a basic idea. But really, you need your broker down there to tell you.
Everything we've been talking about today, literally from the start of this, you gotta have the person that does that job. We talked about your Coma, the doctors. I'm serious. So, do you think, we'll go back to the ice cream. Do you think you're still the specialist of ice cream?
I mean, if they put a batch freezer right now, I believe I could make a lot of ice cream.
But what I'm saying is, so you have people for these jobs. Your job is a real estate agent. You're there to help make sure this transaction make sure it abides by all the laws.
Got to get it to the closing line.
100%. And I'm not going to sit there and tell myself, I know how to do my taxes, and I'm going to start filing for my own taxes. I never read a tax book in my life, but no, I hire a CPA. I hire an attorney.
Of course.
And I think it's so important to make sure you have your professional team and they're ready to deploy. Like I tell my people all the time, it's like, I'm ready to buy a house right now at this very second. What? Really? I'm like, yes, I could buy a house right now. What are you talking about? What I'm talking about, I have everything lined up. I have a real estate agent. I have the bank lined up. I have proof of funds. I can call somebody and get a pre-approved letter instantaneously because they know they already have all my information backlogged,
Ready to go.
ready to go. They'll pump. Obviously, they got to do, run my credit score, make sure I'm good. Not saying they just write me a letter, but everything goes boom, boom. Call my insurance broker. Hey, listen, I'm looking at this house at 123 Johnson. Please make sure we get the insurance on it. It's going to be and I'll tell them it's a tenant occupied. It's already tenants in there. It has a tenant in there. And so everything is lined up and people are always stunned by that. But as an investor, I think it's so important to have that. But even first-time home buyers, because it's
hard for them to navigate. They never know where to go or what to do. And I understand. And I feel like a lot of these tips online are just very generic and stuff. Like a lot of the videos I see, it's the same kind of stuff over and over again. And it's like, well, why not just like open the door a little bit and tell them like kind of the real stuff that happens? Why do they have to find out while they're now looking for a house? Like, what if they knew some of this stuff beforehand? This would probably help them a lot.
Yeah, like I tell here in Long Island, so competitive. It's really like, oh my God, you better have cash ready. You better have cash ready, and you're ready to buy on the spot and waive the inspections. It's so crazy. Some of these houses, even one of the houses we did, I had to waive one of the inspections. She's like, Dan, you got to waive the inspection. I'm like, you want to lose the deal? I'm like, no, I'm not losing the deal. I got to take it. I got to eat it, and that's me rolling the dice.
Although,
but I would not recommend that for our first home.
Yeah, I say this all the time that when it's a first-time home buyer, or I'll be honest, if it's not an investor, I don't recommend them waiving inspection because it's never, I don't know what's going on with the house. A lot of investors have some sort of construction background, whether they're doing kitchens or, boots on the ground, wherever. Buyers don't have that. No. So they're not going to know if it's a total gut. And I have some basic knowledge, but I don't want to take that on because it's not my specialty,
100%. That's very important. For me, like, I have the construction background, so I'm not worried.
Right.
I've worked on houses since I was 6 years old. Whatever goes, I know I can handle it. I know who to call. I have people in the industry that I
think we even saw a house that, remember in
toilet?
Mastic? And no. I mean, I do remember the toilet one in the middle of the living room.
There was a toilet in the middle of the living room. We walked in and there was nothing, and the toilet was on a platform. It was on a platform. It's like,
there's a fireplace.
Fireplace goes across. Like if I was looking at you, fireplace right there. Whoever was living there, this was their
domain, I guess.
Yeah, oh my God.
No, it had no footing. And you're like, do you see this house? It's like on a piece of wood, like the back of the house.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah,
they're bungalow, but Mastic is known for bungalows. So
of course, but this is probably something I would have caught. But since you have this background, you understand now. If it was a first-time home buyer or someone just buying a house, they may not have saw that. No. So that's why you need the inspection. There's a lot of stuff you don't know what's underneath, and one of them being, I think my biggest worry is, foundation issues.
Water. Water foundation.
And it's rare where I see a house and I'm like, you have to walk away. But I saw it in Riverhead. The house had new windows, new roof, a lot of new stuff. And we did an inspection, and it had severe structural issues.
Scary. That's horrifying.
Yeah, and in that $500 has saved them $500,000. And I said to myself, this house looks like it's probably going to collapse. When I spoke to the inspector, he was like, yeah, this is really, he goes, no one should live here. That's how unsafe it was.
It was condemned.
Yeah, and it actually was a for sale by owner. So I went and told the owner, and yet still it was on the market, which is sad because the wrong person may not know, and they'll end up with this house, and now what?
Yeah, man. Oh, wow. I do have I think, hopefully you can answer me this question. Where are you seeing the first-time home buyer age-wise? Because I know it's been very difficult the last couple of years for first-time home buyers. But where are you seeing the age typically? Is it the 30? Like I saw one statistic it was like a first home-time buyer qualifies at the age of 42. I'm like, what?
And Long Island is very, very hard because the price of the houses are very expensive.
Yeah.
And a lot of time first-time home buyers will have to maybe move in with a brother, both be on the mortgage or something else. And to be honest, I personally see people in their mid-30s and sometimes early 40s. But, when it's so hard because
it is. No, there's no inventory.
There's no inventory. I think it's the market's calmed down a little bit. We're not having the bidding wars that we had.
Really?
No, we're not, unless you are an investor going for some of these deals.
Well, that's different.
So
everybody wants the deal.
You're
Yes.
SOL, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yes.
But for the first-time home buyers, we're not seeing people go 100 grand over.
Really?
And to be honest, if I see that, it's because you've priced it 100 grand, less than what it's worth.
Oh my
You
God.
know, it's not like the COVID times.
Those days are kind of getting put away now.
Yeah, now it's slowed down.
It's cooled down.
Where you used to get like 50 offers. I mean, I don't see that.
You don't have to, like, I see the videos online sometimes. It's like a line. You're still getting lines out the door?
I mean, depending on what areas, some areas are very, very popular, and others not so much. Well, remember, a couple of years ago, every area was popular. You could go anywhere and fight for a home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you would have no choice.
I waited online. To buy an investment property, and it was just a line.
You would just wait on open house lines and just wait, and then only to find out you're not getting that house.
Isn't that crazy? That the house could already been sold, like it's already under. Somebody has already made the transaction. They had to list it like that. That is so
I feel like this happens. You'll see a house, have an open house, and then like 5 seconds later, it's like, oh, it's taken. But that deal was probably already in play before the open house.
100%. Yes.
But we have to keep showing until we're under contract. Do we have to? I mean, it's really the right thing to do.
Yes.
Because the deal could die. And it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's why we keep showing, and we still have those open houses, even if we have an accepted offer or multiple offers on a property. Maybe someone will come in even higher. You don't know, and it's unfortunate. It's not the person that got the accepted offer. They're upset, obviously, but that happens. That happened to me over the weekend.
Really?
But I was on the south side, of course. So I got lucky.
I'm kind of like throwing this at you. What's like a really good tip if if you're trying to get into real estate investing when it comes to agents and stuff like that? Do you have something that really hones in that you see a constant mistake that's just like
For investors?
Yeah, I want to pick that. I want to pick that one a little bit, like for my investors, because I am a home buyer. I mean,
I've been pretty blessed that most of the investors I work with already had so much experience, like 20, 30 years. They just needed a good broker that wasn't going to be lazy.
We're talking about you.
That's, but I guess knowing the criteria probably would be the number one thing. That I think, I see that with new investors where they're not sure if they want to do rent, if they want to build from the ground up, or if they want to flip. Like you can't, no one's doing all three really. So pick one if you're new, and let's stick to that.
Of course, you stick with the plan. You stick what you want. I knew ultimately I just want to buy rentals. I'm really not into flipping. Flipping, I feel, is a very not dangerous. It is dangerous, yes, but you really got to crunch those numbers, and you got to.
Those numbers have to be so. But you
need such a good margin.
I think that most of my investors, we go through the same thing. If for some reason this does not flip to the number I need to, how much rent can I get? Because that is their backup plan, is to rent the flip properties if they do not sell for the number they need to. So I think you need a backup plan.
Of course, like I was talking to one of my, I was hosting another podcast earlier this week, and one of the guys I always thought he was a wholesaler, but I come to learn that's not what he does. Wholesaling is plan B. Plan A is to always buy the house. Doesn't matter.
Right.
He finds the lead. He's gonna buy the house. If he cannot wholesale that deal, I mean, if he will try to wholesale the deal, it's like a try, but people get it backwards, saying, "Oh, I'm going to wholesale the deal." Well, what happens if you don't wholesale it?
You got to keep it.
You better be ready to buy that house.
Yeah.
You better be ready to take on that thing. And people like, "Oh, wait, this is not what I cracked up to be. I could just pick up the phone and start wholesaling houses." No.
Oh, it's very hard. Very hard because you can be stuck with that property and you will lose your deposit. They don't care.
100%.
You could tell them whatever sad story you want, but they're going to keep your money.
Melissa, I cannot thank you enough. I always wanted to get you in front of the camera because I've worked with you for 2 years. I think you're an incredible.
Thank you.
Actually, longer than 3 years. And I think you're an incredible agent, broker. You have a fantastic team, and it's just amazing that I still this day I get to pick up the phone. And I'm like, and I get wonderful gifts by Melissa, by the way. I was supposed to bring you olive oil. I fucking knew it. Oh.
No, it's okay.
I don't know. I'm going to deliver it to your house. I'm just going to.
Oh my God.
I'm going to deliver you olive oil. But yeah, it's just, you are it's just so cool that I get to pick up the phone. I could shoot the shit with you. We could talk about realistically what is happening and really where to dive in. And like I know you were even telling me like, Dan, the market's going crazy right now. You like just hang on just a little bit and see what unfolds. Right. And you gotta have the relationship with that realtor. If you're not checking in with your real estate agent, because like I haven't bought a house from you since 2023. It's been a while. Yeah. But doesn't mean I don't want to pick up the phone and say, hey Melissa, how you doing today?
Yeah.
And then you do the same thing. You send me stuff. Oh man, that was so sweet of Melissa. But that relationship, we know ultimately it's going to last the next 10 years.
Of course.
Or longer. Hopefully.
Well, I would think it's the way you're going. That's going to be a lifelong thing.
Of course. And I think
I'll be at the nursing home showing you houses. Like, Dan, did you want this one?
Yes.
Are you sure? Oh, okay.
Who's in a wheelchair? Am I in a wheelchair?
You're in the wheelchair. I'm coming there to show you the houses. I'm bringing the computer to you. You may not know what's going on, and I'll go, where's your pre-approval?
I'm going to have sick rims on my wheelchair. That's all I know. But yes, Melissa, I really want to thank you for coming on the podcast, sharing your knowledge, your story, your backstory. I think it's truly incredible, and I think you're just an incredible person. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for letting me come on here. I really appreciate. You've been the best client ever. But wow! I'm not going to share you with anybody. Sorry, guys, because it's every man for himself.
I do want to give you a plug in, Melissa. So I want to give you a promotional, give your full name, your broker, all that information, where to follow you.
Sure. So Melissa Dreyfuss from the Dreyfuss team. I'm from Realty Connect. Visit dreyfussteam.com and reach out to me. I also have, I think, Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there, so you can follow me.
She posts some funny stories.
If you like comedy, dogs, and real estate, come follow me.
Follow her. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to put down all Melissa's information in the bio so you can also follow her there as well. Until next time, this is Dan, the podcast man now. Out.